happy hump day, everybody. It's the middle of the week, and today we are in Psalm 52 in our Bible reading plan here at First Baptist. And as always, I hope you've already read Psalm 52 and written in your journal what the psalm is teaching, what it teaches about sin, about God, about humanity, about you, and then how God spoke to you and how it applies to your life and what you're going to do because of what he says here. In my journal, after reading Psalm 52, I wrote words. Speech. Are mine evil and destructive, or are they good and encouraging? Psalm 52 talks about, in the beginning and later, the words or the speech of people who are wealthy, people who are powerful, people who are evil even. And in Psalm 52, look at verse 1, the very first part of it. He says, "Why do you boast in evil, O mighty man?" So this is a powerful person who was doing wrong. In verse 2, "Your tongue devises destruction like a sharp razor, O worker of deceit." And later in the psalm, he mentions in verse 7, those who trust in their abundance of riches. So some wealthy people, some powerful people, some sinful people. And he says their tongue cuts people like a razor blade. You know, a razor cut, man, that's sharp. It's painful. I mean, it hurts. And he says that words can be like that. And he says there are these people whose words are destructive, and they devise it. It's not just they speak destructive things, cutting things. They devise it. They plan it. How can I make that person look bad? How can I hurt that person? How can I defeat that person with their words? And so he goes on in verses 3 and 4. He says, "You love evil more than good, falsehood more than speaking what is right. You love all words that devour, that consume, eat, destroy someone. O deceitful tongue." And I was reading this chapter, and okay, now he's talking to wealthy, powerful, evil people. But those same principles about words that are evil and destructive and cutting and so on, that are even devised or planned, apply to people who are not wealthy and people who are not powerful. I think about Twitter. Oh man, Twitter can be a gutter as people just tear others to shred, quite often with false information, half-truths, intentional distortions. And unfortunately, there are Christians, there are ministry leaders who do that on Twitter, and it's sinful before God. Facebook. You know, church members who get on Facebook and criticize their church. Really? How does that make God look good? How does talking negatively about your church or about other Christians on Facebook make anybody want to be a follower of Jesus? That's sinful. Okay, sinful. It's evil. Think about politicians. Yeah, I know you want to distinguish yourself from your opponent and point out areas of disagreement where you think their policies are boneheaded. I get that. But it goes beyond that a lot of times as we name call and we attack and we destroy people for the sake simply of destroying them. And let's just be honest, in the last several years in our country, that has gotten worse. Because if you can't win by talking about the issue, you will win by destroying the person, and that's ungodly. The media, especially the talking heads on network news and cable news, it's just anything anybody else that they don't agree with or from the other side says is automatically wrong. Whether it's wrong or not, it automatically is, because all we care about is destroying and winning. And he says, you love all these words that devour people. And yet God tells us in the second half of Psalm 52 that God will judge. Ultimately, God will judge people who speak and talk like that. If they're rich and powerful and wealthy, He will judge them. If they're just ordinary people who do it on Twitter and Facebook, He will judge them. Jesus said we will give an account for every word we speak. And unfortunately, the sin of the culture when it comes to speech has caused way too many people who claim to be followers of Jesus to talk more like the world than followers of Jesus. And it's evil, it's sinful, it's wrong, and it will be judged by the Lord. That's the sermon for today. I'll see you tomorrow.